Welcome to my channel advice for you, Grandma, backhand index pointing, right? Have you ever felt like intimacy is slipping away with age? Does it seem like your body just doesn't respond the way it used to, leaving you wondering if passion is something only meant for the past? You're not alone. Many couples over 60 find themselves facing these quiet doubts. But here's the truth. Intimacy doesn't fade with time. It simply evolves. And today, we're going to talk about one of the simplest, yet most powerful ways to keep that spark alive in this video. We'll share a heartfelt story of Maria and Clara Ara, two lifelong friends who aren't afraid to talk about what really matters, love, connection, and rediscovering intimacy at any stage of life. Their conversation will open your eyes to new possibilities, practical tips, and an approach to intimacy that is gentle, meaningful, and deeply fulfilling, all without the pressure of trying to keep up with your younger self. By the end of this video, you'll learn why heavy checkmark, the most comfortable and emotionally fulfilling position for women. Over 60, white, heavy checkmark. How small adjustments can make all the difference in pleasure and comfort. White, heavy checkmark, white intimacy is about connection, not performance, and how you can embrace it fully. So if you're ready to break free from hesitation, rekindle passion and experience intimacy in a way that feels natural, loving, and deeply rewarding, stay with me until the end, because what you'll discover today might just transform the way you see intimacy forever. Let's get started. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I encourage you to click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on today's topic. If you enjoy the content, please comment 1 below. If it doesn't resonate with you, leave a 0. Your feedback is crucial as it helps me create better videos that align with your interests. Now, let's get started. Maria and Clara are lifelong friends, bound by decades of laughter, shared secrets, and unwavering support, sat together on a quiet afternoon, the comforting aroma of freshly brewed coffee filling Maria's cozy living room. Both women had gracefully crossed the milestone of 70, their faces carrying the beautiful imprints of timelines etched by joy, sorrow, wisdom, and resilience as they sipped their coffee. Their conversation meandered through the tapestry of life, touching on family health and the ever-changing rhythm of their days, inevitably, as often happened between dear friends who trusted each other deeply. The topic of intimacy surfaced. Clara, her eyes twinkling with mischief, leaned in with a conspiratorial smile. You know, she mused, her voice tinged with amusement and nostalgia. Physical intimacy still mattered even at our age. But let's be honest, our bodies don't move the way they used to. Things feel different. Maria chuckled, nodding knowingly. Oh, absolutely. The energy we once took for granted now feels like a rare currency. Some days fatigue takes over, and other times little aches and pains remind us that youth has long packed its bags and left, she sighed. But there was warmth in her tone, but that doesn't mean we should surrender those moments of closeness, of connection, of feeling desired and loved. Clara tilted her head, curiosity dancing in her expression. So, tell me, Maria, do you have any secrets? Something that makes it easier for women like us to keep that spark alive. A soft, knowing smile spread across Maria's lips. She set her cup down and leaned back, taking a moment to gather her thoughts. Well, she began. I found that one of the most comfortable and intimate positions for us at this stage of life is the missionary position. Clara arched a playful eyebrow. Missionary? That old classic. I never thought about it as anything special. Maria laughed gently. It may be classic, but don't underestimate it. It's one of the most tender and physically manageable positions for women our age. We can simply lie back and let our partner take the lead, which helps when energy levels aren't what they used to be. If mobility is an issue or joints feel stiff, it removes the strain while still allowing for deep connection. Clara nodded, her interest piqued. I never considered how much that might help, and it probably allows for more relaxation, right? Exactly, Maria affirmed, and the best part, it fosters a level of emotional closeness that is just as important as the physical aspect. There's eye contact, gentle touches, whispered words. those little things that make intimacy meaningful. It's not just about the act itself, it's about feeling cherished, seen, and adored. Clara Ara's expression softened, her mind turning over the idea. You're right. It's not about acrobatics or proving anything. It's about savoring the connection, about allowing ourselves to enjoy love in a way that feels natural and fulfilling. Maria reached over, giving Clara Ara's hand a squeeze, and remember, we can always adjust things to suit our comfort. A pillow under the hips, slower movements, open communication. These small adjustments make a world of difference. The goal isn't just pleasure, but comfort, joy, and that feeling of being intimately connected to someone we love. Clara smiled, a deep sense of appreciation. A settling in, I have to say, Maria. This conversation is exactly what I needed today. It's reassuring to know that intimacy doesn't fade. It simply evolves just like we do. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Maria raised her cup in a toast to embracing love at every stage of life. Clara Ara clinked her cup again against Maria's, her heart lighter, her mind open to new possibilities, to love, laughter, and lifelong friendship. Clara Ara smiled, her heart swelling with gratitude. Thank you for sharing this. Maria, it's reassuring to know that intimacy doesn't have to fade with time. It simply evolves. We can still cherish those moments in ways that suit our needs, our bodies, and our desires. Maria's eyes shone with warmth as she lifted her coffee cup in a small toast. That's right. My dear friend, intimacy has no expiration date. It is a language of love, of connection, of tenderness, and we can always find new ways to embrace it with comfort and meaning. Their laughter filled the room as they clinked their cups together, a quiet celebration of their enduring friendship. The wisdom earned through decades of life and the unwavering belief that passion and closeness were not relics of the past, but gifts that could be cherished at any stage of life. As the afternoon light softened into the golden hues of early evening, Clara walked home, her thoughts brimming with everything she and Maria had discussed. The conversation had awakened something within her, a realization that intimacy was not something to be mourned as a memory of youth, but something to be nurtured, treasured and adapted to fit the beautiful stage of life they were in now that night, as she and her husband, Julio, sat side by side in the living room. She found herself watching him with new eyes. The flickering glow of the television illuminated his face, highlighting the familiar creases around his eyes, the gentle curve of his lips, and the quiet, steady presence that had been her source of comfort for so many years. She thought about how much they had been through together. The laughter, the challenges, the moments of pure joy, and the seasons of struggle. They had built a life side by side, growing from passionate young lovers into devoted partners who understood each other in ways words could never fully express. Yet somewhere along the way, between the demands of life, family, and the natural shifts that come with aging, their intimacy had become something quieter, less frequent, more hesitant. It wasn't that the love had faded. It was still there, woven into every gesture, every shared look, every comforting touch. But she realized now that they had allowed hesitation and uncertainty to slip between them, as if passion belonged to the past, instead of being something they could continue to explore, redefine, and cherish. Taking a deep breath, Clara reached for the remote and turned off the television. The sudden stillness in the room made Julio glance over at her, his brows lifting in curiosity, everything. "All right, my love?" he asked, his voice warm and familiar. Clara smiled, her heart beating just a little faster. She hadn't felt nervous talking to Julio in years, but this conversation felt different. It felt important. "Yes," she said softly. I had a really wonderful talk with Maria today. We spoke about something I haven't really put into words before, but I think it's something we should talk about." Julio turned to face her fully, setting his hand gently on her knee. Of course, he said, his tone full of the patience and attentiveness she had always loved about him. You know, I'm always here to listen. What's on your mind? Clara exhaled, feeling a mix of excitement and vulnerability. Maria and I talked about intimacy, she said, watching his expression carefully about how it changes as we get older, and how sometimes we let little challenges, aches, fatigue, hesitation keep us from embracing it fully. But she reminded me that just because we're not in our 20s anymore doesn't mean we can't still enjoy that closeness in a way that works for us now. Giulio nodded, his fingers absent, mindedly tracing circles on the back of her hand. That makes a lot of sense, he said thoughtfully. I felt that too. You know, I never wanted to pressure you, so I figured if things slowed down, that was just how it was supposed to be. But I missed those moments. Clara, not just the physical side of it, but the connection, the tenderness I never stopped wanting. Clara felt her heart squeeze at his words, a warmth spreading through her chest. I miss it too, she admitted, giving his hand a gentle squeeze. And I think part of why it feels harder sometimes is that we believe we have to keep up with what intimacy used to be instead of allowing it to become something new, something softer, something just as meaningful. Giulio smiled, his eyes filled with a quiet kind of love that had only deepened over time. I like that, he murmured, letting it become something new. So, tell me, my love, what did Maria suggest? Clara felt a flicker of excitement, a sense of possibility unfolding between them. She told me about the missionary position, she said, watching his reaction. I know it's not anything new or fancy, but the way she described it made me realize how perfect it is for us now. It's gentle, it allows us to move at our own pace, and most importantly, it keeps us close. I love the idea of looking into your eyes, of savoring that connection, without feeling like we have to push ourselves too hard. Giulio's expression softened, and he reached up to tuck a strand of silver streak hair behind her ear. That sounds beautiful, he said. It's never been about effort, it's always been about us. And if this helps us feel even closer, then I'm more than happy to try. Clara felt a rush of gratitude, her heart swelling with love for the man who had stood beside her through every chapter of their lives. She cued his face in her hands, letting her thumb brush gently over his cheek. Thank you, Giulio, for always being willing, for always listening. He leaned forward, pressing a soft kiss to her forehead. Always, my love. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. In that quiet moment, no grand gestures were needed, just the deep, unshakable understanding between two souls who had spent a lifetime cherishing each other. And as they sat together, hands clasped, hearts open, Clara knew that love in all its forms was a treasure that time could never take away that night. As she lay beside Giulio, she felt something stir within her. Not just desire, but a renewed appreciation for the journey they had shared. Intimacy was not just about the physical. It was about presence, about the tender moments that reminded them of who they were to each other. And as Giulio wrapped an arm around her, pulling her close in the quiet darkness, she realized that in this season of their lives, love had not diminished. It had simply found a softer, more profound way to shine. Clara took a deep breath, her fingers gently intertwined with Giulio. I thought we could try it calmly, she said, her voice soft yet filled with quiet determination. No pressure, no expectations, just the two of us communicating with each other to see how we feel. Giulio's eyes softened as he listened, his hand wrapping around hers with warmth and reassurance. He had always been patient, always willing to meet her where she was, and this moment was no different. That sounds like a wonderful idea, he said, his voice steady and full of affection. What matters most to me is that we're both comfortable and that we cherish these moments together. We can take it slow just as needed and just enjoy being close. Clara exhaled, feeling a wave of gratitude wash over her. There was something so profoundly comforting about knowing she had a partner who understood, who never pressured, who saw intimacy as more than just a physical act, but as a way to nurture their love that night. As they prepared for bed, there was a quiet excitement in the air, different from the passion-fueled urgency of their youth. But just as meaningful, just as filled with anticipation, they moved through their routine with care, each small gesture and unspoken promise of love and devotion. Julio, ever thoughtful, lit a scented candle on the nightstand, the flickering flame casting a soft glow across the room. The familiar scent of vanilla and lavender filled the space, wrapping them in a cocoon of warmth and tranquility. Clara took a moment to appreciate the way the gentle light illuminated Julio's face, highlighting the lines that time had etched onto his skin, and that told the story of a life well lived, of laughter, shared, of challenges faced together. She selected soft instrumental music, allowing the delicate melodies to settle around them like a comforting embrace. She wanted this moment to be special, not rushed, not mechanical, but intentional, filled with tenderness and connection as they lay down together. Clara felt a flicker of nervousness, a sensation she hadn't expected. It had been years since she had felt this particular kind of anticipation, this mix of vulnerability and excitement. But as she looked into Julio's eyes, those familiar eyes that had been her safe haven for decades, she realized that this wasn't something to fear. She placed a pillow under her lower back, adjusting herself until she found the most comfortable position. The simple addition made all the difference, easing any tension she might have felt. Julio, always attuned to her needs, moved with the kind of gentleness that spoke of deep understanding. He reached for her hand, his thumb brushing lightly over her knuckles, grounding her in the moment. "Are you comfortable?" he asked softly, his voice filled with genuine concern. Clara nodded, a small smile tugging at her lips. "Yes," she whispered. "More than comfortable. I feel close to you." Julio leaned in, pressing a tender kiss to her forehead. "That's all I've ever wanted," he murmured, and so they moved together, slowly, deliberately, with a reverence that only years of love and understanding could bring. There was no rush, no need to prove anything. Every touch was a silent conversation, every glance a reaffirmation of their devotion. They spoke softly as they adjusted, listening to each other's needs, ensuring that the experience was as comforting as it was intimate when something didn't feel quite right. They laughed together, making small, playful jokes that eased any lingering tension. It wasn't just about the physical connection. It was about the emotional intimacy, the trust that had been built brick by brick over the course of their shared life. Julio's hands moved with a familiarity that sent warmth coursing through Clara's veins. Not the fiery, reckless heat of youth, but the steady, enduring warmth of a love that had stood the test of time. "You're so beautiful," he whispered, his fingers tracing slow, loving patterns along her arm. Clara chuckled softly, shaking her head at this age with these wrinkles. Julio kissed the corner of her mouth, his breath warm against her skin. "Every line on your face tells the story of our life together. Every mark, every change, it's all beautiful to me." Clara felt her throat tighten with emotion. How had she been so lucky to share her life with someone like him? They continued in their quiet exploration, finding joy in the simplicity of being close, of feeling each other's warmth, of being present in the moment. When they finally rested in each other's arms, their bodies entwined in a way that felt safe and familiar. Clara let out a contented sigh. She traced lazy circles on Julio's chest, her fingertips memorizing the contours of the man she had loved. For so many years, Julio kissed her temple, his lips lingering as if savoring the moment. "Thank you for sharing this with me," he murmured. "I feel so lucky to have you." Clara tilted her head to look at him, her heart swelling. "I'm the lucky one," she said. "You always make me feel cherished no matter what stage of life we're in, and I love that we can still discover new ways to be close." Even after all this time, Julio brushed a stray strand of silver stray hair from her face, his touch filled with reverence. "That's the beauty of love, isn't it?" he said softly. "It doesn't fade, it just changes shape, and as long as we keep holding on to each other, we'll always find ways to keep the spark alive." Clara smiled, feeling an overwhelming sense of peace, as they lay there wrapped in the warmth of each other's presence. She realized that intimacy wasn't about age, nor was it about physical perfection. It was about connection, about trust, without knowing that no matter how much time passed, they would always choose each other that night as sleep gently pulled them under. Clara held on to that truth, the knowledge that love, true and enduring love, was not something that faded with time. It was something that grew richer, deeper, more profound, and in that quiet darkness, with Giulio's arms around her, she knew that they had not just shared a night of intimacy. They had shared a promise, one that would carry them forward, ward hand in hand for all the days to come. So, after everything we've explored together, what have you learned? Has this conversation opened your eyes to new ways of embracing intimacy as you age? We'd love to hear from you. Comment below and share one thing you've learnt from this video, something you plan to put into practice in your own life. Remember, intimacy isn't about age, it's about connection, trust, and finding ways to cherish each other at every stage of life. Whether it's through open communication, small adjustments for comfort, or simply shifting your perspective. Every step you take matters. If you found this video helpful, please leave a comment below and don't forget to like. Share and subscribe to our channel, Sia, for more insightful discussions on health, intimacy, and well-being. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next